to the second round, 5-minute slot for Mr. Kram. Mr. Kram, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to Mr. Robinson and Mr. Turnbull for joining us today. So, in June of 2017, Transport Canada certified the Boeing 737 MAX 8. That plane later turned out to be unsafe. What went wrong with the certification process, and what can be done to ensure that mistakes like this do not happen again?
Mr. Turnbull or Mr. Robinson?
So I'll refer back to the variety of reports and reviews that have been undertaken to look at that exact question. What went wrong? My colleague, Mr. Turnbull, has already highlighted one piece that went wrong that needs to change is how we look at an incorporation of a change in the aircraft and how it interacts or affects the upstream of the aircraft, the change product rule. We have to look at that. And that's something that we'll see and we'll see changed moving on. We also have to look at the interaction that different authorities have with their manufacturers. As my colleague, Mr. Turnbull, referred to, it's public record that information was not forthcoming with regards to particular aspects of this aircraft. That didn't allow validating authorities to take a full decision and understanding of the impacts a particular system has on an aircraft. That will have to change, and something that the Congressional Point report hits on directly in the U.S. We'll also look at our engagement with regards to validation. As we said at the beginning, the system, and to give a rough sense, when Canada moved forward and certified the C-Series aircraft, the Bombardier C-Series aircraft, when it was a Bombardier product since Airbus, there was about 160,000 hours put into that certification. 160,000 hours of Canadian time, Canadian certification expertise that went into the review and certification of that aircraft. We rely on states to do the same amount of rigor in their certification standard. But I'll let you know that in this case, from a validating authority, we put about, from the time the aircraft grounded to now, there was about 15,000 hours that we've contributed just to the modifications that are being proposed to this system. We'll see a greater involvement in validation, but we do have to keep with the system where the state of design certifies the aircraft and the other leading authorities go ahead and validate the aircraft independently.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Kram?
Okay, so it's my understanding that Transport Canada has what are called concern papers. And when test pilots encounter problems or issues when they are certifying the aircraft, they are written down on the concern paper and sent to the manufacturer. What does Transport Canada do to ensure that any outstanding serious issues in the concern papers are answered before the aircraft is certified as safe?
Gentlemen?
Well, I'll begin with reviewing what Mr. Turnbull provided there a few moments ago. Concern papers are a note. It's to determine that there has been an area that further clarification is needed in order for the validating authority to fully understand how the certifying authority has said that the manufacturer has achieved compliance. It's not to specify that there is a particular safety issue. It's to specify that more information is needed. Now, throughout the iterations of the concern paper, the validating authority will determine, is this an issue that needs to be closed prior to issuing a validation, or is this an issue that does not pose a safety risk, but might be an issue where the four certifying authorities have to regroup and say, how are we harmonizing this standard? Because we look at it from this way, you're looking at it from this way, and we just need to make sure that we have a common understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson, and thank you, Mr. Kram.